U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening to place $11 billion in tariffs on EU goods after the World Trade Organization decided to rule that EU subsidies to Airbus had adverse effects on the United States. And the U.S. president did go out and claim that this was somehow taking advantage of Americans, even though subsidizing a company isn't the same thing as ripping off another country. Earlier this week, the U.S. Trade Representative said Washington was mulling tariffs on a wide range of European exports to the United States, including large commercial aircraft and parts, as well as wine, cheese, and dairy products. Now, the European Union is deciding whether or not, investigating the idea of possibly placing retaliatory tariffs on the United States for this measure. Now, it's certainly true that the World Trade Organization did rule in favor of the United States as opposed to the European Union. However, a lot of this has come about as a result of the U.S. pulling out of the Transatlantic and Investment Partnership, or the TTIP, possibly the one good thing Donald Trump actually did. Now, the proposed this was a proposed trade agreement between the U.S. and EU, and this comes after Trump already put tariffs on steel and aluminum to stimulate the domestic production, which has not really manifested itself to any significant degree. Of course, there's been an increase in domestic production, but not to any real significant degree that would justify these actions. However, it should be noted that the United States is in a wholly hypocritical situation here, one that the EU is now going to take to the World Trade Organization as well. And that is, Boeing receives a great deal of subsidies, some, at least in terms of several billion in subsidies from the United States government. So if Airbus receiving subsidies from EU countries is against the rules, but somehow the United States giving subsidies to Boeing is not against the rules. Of course, this is more part and parcel of the way that U.S. President Donald Trump has continued to carry out relations between the United States and other countries. This is the, not so much the America first, but the America can do whatever it wants path. The reneging on agreements that have existed, some of them existed for a long time, some of which took years to hammer out specific agreements, and then just simply toss them out the window and decide to do whatever they want, harming other people's economies, showing that essentially there's no honor among, at least within Donald Trump himself to a large degree, and the Republican Party, who essentially lets him get away with it. So it's going to be very interesting to see the increased hostilities between both the United States and the EU in this regard. And keep in mind that this comes as some EU countries who are a part of NATO are questioning whether or not they want to continue to be a part of it. So we can see this is a very geopolitical situation, one that may end up backfiring on the United States. I mean, we could go into why NATO ceased to be of any relevance once the Soviet Union came to an end, but has certainly managed to serve imperialist interests long before its reason for existing was completed. So this is something that's going to require much attention, not just to those in business, but those who study economics in general, to see how the relationship and this hostility is going to turn out between the United States and the European Union. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.